Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon session of Gailborn's Facebook live feed. My name is Melissa Bernasic. I am the Director of Information and Digital Services. Yesterday we met and we talked about how to meet with your family and friends online, how to use your phones to connect, things you can do with shared albums to make your community still feel like community during this time. So if you haven't caught that video, you may want to go back and look at that. Today we're going to talk about one of the 24/7 eLibrary resources called Hoopla. It's great for ebooks, audiobooks. There's also music, video, TV content on there. But before we do that, I wanted to see how you all enjoyed morning story time. We had some great story time for the kids. If you missed it, you can go back and view the video or join us tomorrow. At 9:30 in the morning, we'll be letting you know our schedule for the day, so check our Facebook page then. And then at 11 o'clock, you'll want to join us for kids content. So let's get started with Hoopla. Hoopla is an app, but you can also access on the computer. As I mentioned, it's for video, audio, you're listening, you're reading, all kinds of content. There's even comics on there, which I'm going to highlight for you later. Hoopla is great because you can access on your computer or your phone or a tablet. So no matter what device you have, as long as you're set up with internet, Wi-Fi, you should be good to go. And as a reminder, a lot of the phone carriers have just kind of done away with data limits at this point. So make sure you check with your carrier that you may not have to worry about that and you're able to go ahead and access this information even more. So when you start off with Hoopla, and I'm going to pull up my iPad here, hopefully you'll see, you're going to have to register the first time. This is common for services, so make sure you have your email address handy and be prepared to create a password. You'll have to enter your Gale boarding card number as well. Now, one of the really great things about Hoopla is there's no holds. So all of the content that you see, you're going to be able to access all the time. Everybody can read the same book, or you can do your own little home book club and all read different things and share. So basically what you see is always there. We've also just increased the limit. So previously you were able to get 5 checkouts per month. Now you can have 10. And that same goes on our Canopy service as well. So let's dive into Hoopla, and I want to share a few things with you. For me, one of the things I've been focusing on is a little bit of self-care during this time. I think having that moment to take a deep breath, do something we really enjoy, it's important for us to kind of stay centered, stay calm. So I wanted to start out with reading a short passage from one of my favorite books that's on Hoopla, The Call of the Wild. It was the wolf manner of fighting, to strike and leap away, but there was more to it than this. 30 or 40 huskies ran to the spot and surrounded the combatants in an intent and silent circle. Buck did not comprehend that silent intentness, nor the eager way with which they were licking their chops. Curly rushed her antagonist, who struck again and leaped aside. He met her next rush with his chest in a peculiar fashion that tumbled off her feet. She never regained them. This was what the onlooking huskies had waited for. They closed in upon her, snarling and yelping, and she was buried, screaming with agony, beneath the bristling mass of bodies. A little intense, but I thought that starting with reading is a good point because it allows us to escape, to try something new and learn and put ourselves in a different place. When you first log into the Hoopla app, you'll be taken to your My Hoopla page. That is sort of like your home screen, you're going to see any books that you currently have checked out. So I have 3 things checked out. Actually, one of them's not a book, one of them's a comic, a little bit different. You would see any of your other content here as well, movies, whatnot. And then I can also check right up here, there's a button that says favorites. I know it's a little bit hard for you guys to see. If you go to your favorites, that's kind of like creating a reading or watch list. So if you want to save items for the future, you can go ahead and just check the little heart and they'll be there on your favorites list for the future. And then in the very top left corner here, there's a button that says kids. If you tap that, you'll be going just to kids content and you'll see a little check mark next to that. It's a great way for parents to look at this app with their kids, but I want to remind you that the content on here is primarily for adults. Okay, so let's go ahead then and take a look at some of the other menus. Along the bottom are the menus. If you're looking on a computer, it's going to be in the top left once you're logged in. So there's My Hoopla, and then we see video, music, books, and a search function. Search is great if you're going for something really specific, but I find a lot of times I'm just browsing, looking at the covers, reading the synopsis before I choose. When I click on any of the others, video, music, or books, I'm going to go into just the simple browse function. So let's take a look at what's on the video. Immediately I see a toggle at the top for movies or television. Sorry, I'm trying not to catch the glare so you guys can see. And then we have some popular movies here. And I can just scroll through. If I click on something, I get a little bit of a synopsis, and then the blue button in the middle is the borrowing option. Often, to get back, you're going the top left, look for a little arrow that faces left, and we get back and we can just browse some more. Videos are available when you check them out for 3 days, no matter if it's movie or TV. One of the great things about the music section is that it features full albums. So unlike some other services that you'll run into where you're going by song or maybe a little bit of partial music or clips or mixed playlists, this you get to listen to the full album. So you can check those out. And you get to keep music for 7 days. And then now we're going to go over to where the bulk of the content is here, our most popular. And this would be the audiobook, comic, and ebook section. So all I did was click the menu at the bottom that said books, and then at the top I see a toggle for audiobook, comic, and ebook. The ebook section is browsable just like the others. So we're going to go through, I'm going to do ebooks first. It goes through popular, recommended, or featured, and of course, I said don't forget to create your favorites list so you can go back and just kind of creating a reading list for yourself for the future. So I've actually already got one checked out. I'm going to pull that up and show you what it looks like when you're reading in the app. So I go back to My Hoopla and I click. And here we are on a page of The Call of the Wild. And often when you pull up a book, you're just in a full reading mode. You can see there's pretty much nothing else on the screen here. But when I tap in the middle, I get my menu options. You can change your text size, what the background color is, you can change your margins and the justification, and all of this is to make a really good reading experience for you. We tap in the middle to get rid of the menus again, and then you're off back to reading. If I want to go back, I'm just clicking again to get the menu, and I'm going to click the X in the top left, and that goes back to my book's homepage. Now I'm going over to an audiobook I have checked out. So the browsing is similar. You're going to flip through those just like you would see any of the ebooks. So I have this checked out already. immediately when you check out an audiobook, it's going to go into play mode right away. So you might want to stop that and go back and take a look at the menu. So if I resume, you see it just pops up with a player.
Spilling out the librarian's books. An eddy of dirt and debris lifted, stinging the woman's eyes.
Let me pause that so you can hear me. When you're in this listening mode, you'll have to scroll left or right to get to your other options. So I just swiped. I can actually change the playback rate and make her talk faster if I want to get through the book faster. I can also set a sleep timer, so if you're like me and you tend to fall asleep within minutes of putting on an audiobook at night, you can just have that turn off. You won't miss a whole lot of your book. And then if I go all the way the other direction, I have bookmarks. This is a feature in both ebooks, audiobooks. You can bookmark little passages, be able to come back to them later. Okay. Now let's go over to one of my favorite hidden gems on Hoopla. We've got comics. So I can scroll through and see what's available. Really popular titles on here, characters you're going to recognize for sure. I actually already have Garfield checked out. I needed a giggle this morning, so felt like this was kind of funny, classic comics to view. So again, we see a synopsis, and if I resume what I was reading, you see there, comics full screen. I'm doing this on an iPad mini, and I feel like the text size is pretty good. You'll see that images are nice and clear. A full-size iPad is good as well, or like a Samsung tablet that's more towards a 10-inch might be a more comfortable reading experience for you. But I know some people start to find that maybe the tablet gets a little bit heavy, so that's why I tend to like the mini, or like a Kindle Fire is kind of the same size. So that's about it for Hoopla. I'm going to just flip back to the main menu here. Remember, there's that toggle for kids up there when you're on your My Hoopla homepage. And that will allow you to change the content that you see into Hoopla Kids mode. So here I'm looking at the videos available for Kids mode. Again, caregivers, you want to make sure you still police what they're looking at. Make sure your kids are viewing appropriate content. But this should help you along the way. All right, so that's all we have for Hoopla. Just want to remind you that if you need to get in touch with us, that you can contact us by email at gbplweb@galeborden.info, by text at 847-754-4599, and then join us tomorrow at 9:30 to hear our schedule. Thanks, everyone.
I thought you were going to